It's not a walkthrough, playthrough, review, anything like that. It's just me playing the game badly so you can see what it looks like. Okay then, this is Doom on the SNES, S.N.E.S, Super Nintendo, that Nintendo console that came after the NES. You know the one. This is... It's the first time I played it. Now, I like Doom. I am a fan of Doom. I haven't played the later Doom, the one that's on like PS4 and stuff. The most modern Doom I've played is Doom 3 on the PC. I don't like Doom 2. I like this on other systems. Whether I like it on here or not remains to be seen. I'm looking for that there, that's what I'm looking for. See, controls are okay here. Well, in that the whole sidestep strafing thing is on the shoulder buttons, and I like that. I found strafing on the 32X to be a pain in the arse. You had to push a button and then use the D-pad, where this is just a shoulder button. However, I mean, the first system I ever played the game on was the 32X. This is using the Super FX. I think is it the Super FX2 or just the Super FX? I think it's the Super FX2. Which I don't know how powerful that is, but I can tell you that in terms of how this compares with the 32X game, it doesn't compare very well. Yeah. Fortunately, you don't have to aim too accurately, and that's a good thing. Here's the thing. I grew up with my first games console after Pong was the Atari 2600, and game controls on that console are instant. You know, the games were simple. There wasn't a lot of complex code being ran, so there was, even though the CPU was obviously not powerful, games were responsive largely, as long as you didn't trash your controller. But after that, I played the Acorn Electron. That was my gaming system of choice for a long, long time. And it's fair to say that responsiveness of controls on a lot of Electron games was lacking. You press a button and pray that it would respond. And that was normal. With that in mind, very often when I play games now that people complain about the controls being laggy, I just think, what you're talking about, it's fine. I am not sensitive to lag. You know, a little bit of delay, I just don't care. Maybe my reaction times are so poor that I don't notice, but whatever the case, I'm not a person who would complain about lag. But this is laggy. This is the only other game I can think of that feels like this in terms of lag, and on that game I don't mind, but on this I do, is Stunt Race FX, also on the SNES, also using a Super FX chip. That game is laggy. I didn't mind on that game because that's the only version of the game. The rubbery kind of feeling to the controls was a thing that you just accepted as part of the game, and you learned to accommodate it. But I've played this on other systems, and I know how it should feel. It's not a question of, oh, that's just how Doom is, because that's not how Doom is. Doom is better than this. I can forgive the hyper-pixelated graphics and the lack of textures on the ceilings and floors. Fine, no problem. I know it doesn't have the oomph. But the lag, I can't forgive. It's not terrible. It doesn't make it unplayable, but it does make it the worst version I've ever played. You know, I've played it on hardware that's not really capable, or you wouldn't expect to be capable. I've played Doom on the Amiga, although mine is a bit of a powerful Amiga, so you know. But, bugger off. Of course, who's bloody killing me? Wow, they're everywhere. What the hell? So it's a while since I've played this level. Who's killing me now? Sod off. That was a lot of bad guys in a short space of time. Have I suddenly gone up a difficulty level? Or just forgotten how this game works? Whatever. What was I saying? Yes, had I had this back in the day and not had a 32X, if this was my only experience of Doom, I think I'd be alright with it. Yeah, I think I would give it... bugger off. It could get away with it. Probably. But I mean, what have I played Doom on? 32X, PC, PS3, Jaguar, 3DO, Game Boy Advance. Even the Game Boy Advance version plays better than this. I have seen versions of it on the Spectrum, Commodore 64, and even on the VIC-20. This plays better than those. Yeah. I'm so busy talking, I'm forgetting about the fact that I have a mission. Need a key. Can't remember. Oh yeah. Can't remember how to go down, that'll do. It's going to go back up before I work out where I'm going. I don't think I found what I was looking for. I'm going to start singing U2 songs in a minute. I actually like U2 from that era. I was listening to some U2 today. Is this where I just went? I was listening to some U2 today. It was a track off of Boy. I like their early stuff. I like U2 all the way up to the last album they did that I liked was Pop. And then I heard everything. I heard Beautiful Day, and I was like, yeah, this is a great song. And then I borrowed Everything You Can't Leave Behind, I think that's what it's called, from the library. And I was like, what the hell is this? And I was so massively disappointed because it was so shockingly dull. And just like U2 parody themselves, and that was it. They lost me there, and the only thing of theirs I have got since then was the one that they gave away for free on iTunes, and that's, again, it's not a terrible album, but they're parodying themselves. It's like they've run out of ideas. I love their early stuff. Boy, great. October, not so much. War, fantastic. Unforgettable Fire, my favourite. Joshua Tree, yeah, I can take it or leave it. We won't talk about, I've even forgotten the name of it, and that's a Rattle and Hum. Yeah, well, fine. Abomination. Actung Baby, great. Zooropa, quirky, but I like it. Pop was like standing in acid or goo or something. Pop was the culmination of those three albums. It was like they'd gone a certain path and they hit peak something, like their Berlin trilogy, and they peaked with that, and that was it. They had nowhere to go after that, and so they just went shite. And I stopped listening. And all of this has nothing to do with this game, and just came from the fact that I couldn't find what I was looking for. Mainly because I'd forgotten what it was. There you go. None of you wanted to know any of that. You want to know about Doom on the SNES and is it any good? Well, you know, it is what it is. You can play it. If it was the only version you had ever played or had access to, I think if it was 1990, whatever year this came out in, well, I've said it already, you know, if you had a SNES, you didn't have anything else that could play the game, it would do, but it does lack quite a lot. Bugger off. And you. Sure, I've missed loads of stuff, but it's kind of hard to see everything when it's all like this. I mean, my eyesight is bad because I've had vitreous detachments in both eyes. So all the vitreous jelly that sits on the surface of your retina has detached and is just floating about inside my eyeballs, kind of attached in places. So it's like having shredded net curtains floating around in front of your vision all the time. It doesn't go away, it doesn't get better, it's just there. And it took me quite a while to get used to it. I mean, it nearly drove me mad for a while, literally. Just, I was losing it, because when you can just see this crap all the time, it's disturbing. But anyway, my point being, even with all of that crap in my vision, I can still see better than this. Yeah, I think a person who would have to see the world like this would have my sympathy, even with my shitty vision. I've now got a Gary Newman song on the brain. It's early Gary Newman, it goes, "You are in my vision." I don't remember anything else about it. Some kind of music thing going on in my head while I'm playing. I don't know why, it's not what you signed up for. You didn't sign up for anything, you're just here to watch me make a fool of myself. I don't mind. Yeah, fire in his approximate direction. Oh, okay, fine. Whoa. I got that ball once, that blue ball. I figured out how to do it years ago. Can't remember how to do it now. There was a time, I would never say I was good at Doom, but it was the 32X version I got the furthest in, I think. I got it later on the PS1, and it's technically better on the PS1 than the 32X, but I didn't actually get as far because by then I had more games to play, so I played other stuff. I don't know. Come on, what am I stuck on? Was there a point to what I was saying? Don't remember. Oh, you sod. Okay. Yeah, but the thing about the PS1 version, and there was a particular version, and I don't remember which one it is, because I've got Doom for the PS1 now on like an original disc, and it's not the same, because on the one that I had back in the day, there were levels in a kind of, well, you could sort of go outdoors and then go into other areas where there were like people hanging on, oh, I don't know what, hung on the walls. And you could hear a baby crying. And it was the most sinister thing I'd ever heard in a video game. And that's not on the version that I've got now, which disappoints me because I found that really impressive. There we go. It's like a scene from The Walking Dead. I've stopped walking. I've stopped watching The Walking Dead. I got up to series, what are we on now? Is it 8, 9, whatever? And it's lost me, finally. I'm like, no. Can't get into it now. I've watched every episode of every series, like, what? Bollocks. Alright, I'm going to stop there. I don't know why I died, and really I don't care. I hope it's not all too dark. Yeah, that is Doom on the SNES, Super NES, Super Nintendo. I'm just going to call it SNES from now on. I can't be bothered to say that. I know some people get irked when I call it SNES. Don't care, deal with it. Yeah. Well, I've told you what I think of it anyway. You know, it'll do if it's all you've got, but if it's not, play another version. Okay, thank you for watching. Hello, today's question for Q&A is from Lee Price. Link to his channel down there. He asks, for Q&A, have you gone back to a retro game you had fond memories of, only to be disappointed? Yes, I have. I can think of a couple right off the top of my head. There are probably more and probably better examples than the ones I'm going to name, but these are the first ones I can think of. First one I remember liking, but I might be remembering it wrong, and that is Atomic Robo Kid on the Mega Drive. It's a game, I rented it from, there was this shop in, what the hell is got, this is meant to be Pac-Man. It's not a standard Pac-Man. Yeah, okay. I rented it from this, no it wasn't rented, there was a shop in Willen, which is a part of Milton Keynes where I used to live, and you would buy a game from them at more or less full price, or maybe it was £15, something like that, because they were second hand, so it was probably £15. You would buy it, and you would play it, and then if you got bored with it, you would take it back, and for 50p, they would give you another one. You would trade and get another one, and you could just keep doing that and going back, trade 50p, get a different one, which was great. And if you liked one, you kept it, and then if you wanted to get another one, having kept one, well, you paid the 15 quid. And one of the ones that I got that did I trade it back in or did I keep it? I can't remember. Was Atomic Robo Kid. So I remember liking it, but I might be mistaken, because when I came back to play it and record a video of it, maybe a couple of years ago, I thought it was rubbish. Did not like it at all. Yeah, see, now it's Pac-Man. What's going on here? Found it overly difficult. Couldn't get very far at all. Found it wooden. Control-wise, just everything about it was wooden and clunky and nasty and aggravating, and it annoyed me and frustrated me. So maybe I remember liking it incorrectly. I do find my memory is a little bit faulty these days. Other game that comes to mind, this one absolutely I know I liked back in the day, and it is was it called Killer Gorilla? It's the Donkey Kong clone on the Acorn Electron. And I do remember back in the day when the Electron was my main gaming system, thinking it was arcade perfect. I had played Donkey Kong in the arcades and this was exactly like it. So when I came to record my Electron videos nearly 10 years ago now, probably about 8 or 9 years ago, I was kind of horrified to find it's actually pretty rubbish. I mean, it plays okay, You know, you can tell it's meant to be Donkey Kong, but it's pretty ropey, graphically at least. And I think maybe the frame rate isn't all that either. Yeah, definitely. What's the one on the Dragon 32 game is better. Donkey King, vastly better. And I mean, I tend to think the Electron is a more powerful system than the Dragon, but the Dragon game knocks it for 6. Other games that I think of when answering this question, well, there is a game that back in the day I thought was great. On the Spectrum, it's one that you'll have a very hard time finding a ROM for, or I did anyway, finding something that I could get it playing on my actual Spectrum through the SD thingy. And that's a game called Monsters in Hell. It's kind of a little bit like Space Panic, but really I think it must be written in BASIC. I loved it back in the day. It's quite hard. It's mostly like the user definable sprites. All of the sprites are tiny. Movement is like one block at a time, so it is kind of crap. But I loved it back then, and I came back to it a few years ago. I finally got no, I bought the tape. Yes, I did. I bought the tape off of eBay. And I played it, and it's shite. It's shockingly shite, but I love it. I still love it. It's one of those so crap it's great games. It's never been popular. Most people will never have heard of it, and if they have, they'll wish they hadn't. And I love it. It's classic, really shite early Spectrum gaming. And that's my favourite era. I mean, when I played Spectrum games, because I never had one, so any Spectrum games I played were on my school friends' Spectrums. And we're talking like the early days of the Spectrum, when they had not mastered what you could do with it. The best you had was a 48K. There was none of your 128K and improved sound or any of that. 48K at best. So gaming on it was quite limited, and that's the kind of Spectrum gaming that I love. Jetpack is to me the absolute pinnacle of Spectrum gaming. I don't care that there's more advanced stuff that came later, and just don't care. So this, Monsters in Hell, was just like, that's what Spectrum gaming was like, and I love it. I can't think of any others off the top of my head. I know there are going to be plenty, and I expect I'm going to find a few on the SNES, because I am in the process of recording videos for that, because SD to SNES cartridge. Yeah. But no others come to mind. There are quite a few that I remember liking and I play again now and find I still like, and that's pleasing. That's very pleasing. Maybe some that I remember looking better, or thinking they looked better than they actually do. But then again, some of them I come back and it's like, wow, that's actually still really good. Examples don't come to mind really. I mean, Star Fox is one that the frame rate is not great, but it's still really playable. I mean, those early Super FX chip games like Stunt Race FX, there's control lag, and at the time I just considered it kind of rubbery. A rubbery control system. It was just a feature of how the game played, and I still like that game, though coming to it now I recognise that rubberiness as just plain control lag. They were pushing it beyond its actual capabilities, and if a company released a game that ran that poorly now, well, they'd be hounded out of town, so to speak. It would not be acceptable. But back then, you could get away with games with a poor frame rate. I mean, Formula 1 Grand Prix on an Amiga 500, what were you looking at? 7, maybe 10 frames a second if you were lucky? That would not be acceptable now. It would actually be considered unplayable. But back then, fine. In fact, Elite on my Acorn Electron, you could get into a space battle with multiple Vipers around a space station and missiles being fired, and you would hit points you were lucky if you got 2 frames a second. And that was fine. Where now, if you drop below 60 frames a second, it's unplayable. Bollocks. People are just too damn fussy. Yeah. I think that's all I've got to say on that, really. Thank you for the question. And if you've got any questions you would like answering in a video like this, leave your question in the comments below. Begin your question with 4 Q&As so I know not to answer it in the comments. Okay, thank you for watching.
Not without a knighthood, not a chance. Anyway, Benway who? Oh, you lot. Hello? What? Oh, please subscribe. Thank you. Can I go now?